Meet John. He's a little bit lonely tonight, so he got Sally's number from the internet. After speaking with her, they meet at a downtown hotel.
Everything is awesome. 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 Everything is awesome.
Please, open up. Stop, in the name of the law.
Who the hell are you?
You're under arrest for soliciting prostitution under the Protection of Communities and Exploited Persons Act.
The what? That's a dumb name.
You're under arrest.
I don't understand. I didn't hurt anyone.
That doesn't matter. That prostitute is being exploited.
No, I'm not.
That doesn't matter. This prostitute is being exploited.
But we both chose to be here.
That doesn't matter.
So let me get this straight. Let's say I took Sally out for a meal, bought her expensive gifts, and then had sex with her. That would not be illegal?
Yes.
But if I skip dinner and hand her $200 to have sex with me, that's illegal.
Yes.
If I simply talk to her about having sex for money, is that illegal?
Yes.
If I talk to him about it, am I breaking the law?
In some cases, but probably not.
So am I under arrest too?
No. Selling sex is perfectly legal.
But how am I supposed to sell sex if you keep arresting my clients?
You're not supposed to sell sex.
But how are you helping me if you're preventing me from making a living?
Hello everybody. In today's video, I am going to make a comparison between Colombian and Canadian law. I am going to analyze the situation of sex workers in each country and how Colombia is moving towards a model of acceptation of this profession. Sex workers are an active part in the working society. Are you aware of the role of prostitution in the society? The role of prostitution is to satisfy the human need for sexual desire. How is it possible that in some places prostitution is legal and in others illegal? It's just a moral constraint that people haven't got over yet? In Colombia, for example, Women's Association in collaboration with the government have been developing a new model of integration of sex workers into society. This model focuses on the acceptation of prostitution as a legal way of generating an income. This model wants to acknowledge that prostitution is a job like any other, which means sex workers should have access to the same working benefits and duties of workers in general.
Prostitution has never been illegal in Colombia. This fact does not mean that Colombian sex workers have a good working condition. Colombia's new model of acceptation is the result of narco-traffic period in 1990, late 2000. The narcos were well-known people who were always surrounded by beautiful women and men, prepagos or prepaid. Prostitution has been an active part of Colombian economy development for more than 35 years. Thousands of sex workers have found in prostitution the income that they could not get by working in other areas. In 2010, the Constitutional Court of Colombia acknowledged that prostitution is a job like any other, and therefore, those who exercise this office have the same labor rights as any other worker. In 2013, a new Bill 79 aims to establish a decent treatment for people who work in the sex trade with the implementation of sex workers' rights as a person.
Canadian prostitution laws are very restrictive in the acceptance of this profession as legal. Prostitution in Canada is legal, but the verbal agreement of sexual services for money is illegal. This duality between prohibition and acceptance creates a gray zone where sex workers are not fully accepted, neither are seen as a part of the working society.
Next, we will listen to Nikki Thomas, the Director of Sex Professional of Canada and a sex worker herself.
It's based around the constitutional right to security of the person. And Our contention was that the sections of the criminal code that criminalized sex work were contrary to our constitutional rights to security. And the decision, which was rendered by Justice Himmel at the end of September in 2010, basically agreed with our point and found that the laws, while intended to discourage negative practices and intended to protect sex workers, actually did the opposite by putting us in a position where we had to choose between a situation that would be the most safe and secure, balanced with the fact that it was a situation that was actually illegal.
Do you know that in Colombia, sex tourism is highly accepted by the society? Tourists paid in average between $300 to $1,400 for sex services. Do you know that in Canada, an undercover police officer is allowed to sexually touch a sex worker without identifying themselves?
In December 2013, the Supreme Court of Canada ruled that criminal code offenses regarding prostitution were unconstitutional. The federal government was given 12 months to create a new law, and it responded with a game changer, Bill C-36, the Protection of Communities and Exploited Persons Act. It's a tough new law that would, for the first time, make buying sex illegal in Canada. Prostitutes had and asked for the right to make a safe living from sex work, but the government said no and responded with a law that counters the social harm caused by the objectification of the human body and the commodification of sexual activity. Pro-prostitution groups are outraged at Bill C-36. Supporters welcome the new law and say it will help the most vulnerable victims in society.
The legalization of prostitution will benefit the society in more than one aspect. On one side, the government is going to benefit from the tax revenue of this new working class. And the prostitutes will also improve their working condition with the benefits given by the government, which could lead to a higher acceptance of this profession as a licit way of generating an income. I hope this video was able to inform you about prostitution as a legal way of generating an income. It is time to live in the past, the days where we thought prostitution was illegal or immoral. Sex workers need the support from the government and from the whole society to improve their working conditions. I hope this video will influence in some way the development of the new Bill C-36 that will impact the situation of sex workers for the years to come.